Good evening. We're picking up on facial treatments. And so this is a short study sessions on facial treatments for our aesthetics course. We began to talk a little bit about explaining the importance of facial treatments and why. Just glancing over the objectives 1 through 12, making sure that we clearly understand each objective and also making sure that we're able to bring in a summary in our own words as an answer to each objective. As we begin to move forward, you will see pre-highlighted areas and bookmark areas within the ebook. Those are particular areas for you to study, reference again. And of course, if they're bookmarked, I want you to go back and reference them during your study for your exam. Okay, so we did talk about the importance of the facial treatments, how facials offer two benefits at the same time. You got your regular treatments will result in noticeable improvements. And this is just simply where we are now. People want to see a benefit. Okay, they want to see a rapid response to skincare. And so they want to see, does the texture of the skin changing? Is it working? Because we all know that skincare or just any service provider, when it comes down to beauty, it's not that they have to have this to survive. Okay, so I want us to get that together. They don't have to have this to survive, but our guests choose to include us in our budgets, and that should be an honor by itself. So we should be able to provide exactly what they need, help them along the way, since they are adding us into their budget. So we have now become more viable, okay, and we're a staple in a lot of the households simply because they can see a difference, okay? So yes, there was a time where people would be patient and they could wait a lengthy amount of time, continue to get service in order to see results. But now you have a generation that wants to see rapid results, okay? And so that means our knowledge has to come up, of course, our educational training within school, outside school, post-licensure, things of that nature, and also product knowledge, more experience with what's going on in the north, the south, the east, and the west. What are they doing in Russia versus what are they doing over in Hawaii? What are they doing over in Switzerland? And so we should be very diverse with what's going on within our industry, especially when it comes to skincare, aesthetics, lashing, whatever our industry is. Okay. And so the other benefit, of course, is relaxing experience. People buy into the experience, all right? And so how you portray yourself, how do you build a rapport with them, your communication with them is still foundational, okay? How you look, estheticians are also the cream of the crop of the beauty industry. You focus on the skin, and that's the first thing that people see. That's the largest organ of the body. And so your skin must be at a place that invites people to come in and say, if she takes care of herself, I would trust her to take care of me as well. All right. So these are key. The experience and how well you present yourself are still foundational to building clientele and the giving clarity into what we do. Okay. Continue benefits of a facial. Whenever you see the highlighted, remember those are study areas, and also whenever you see the bold terms, those are also terms to study. I tell all of my students, studying the terms helps you understand what the question is asking. If you take a test and you don't know what those words mean or what the question is asking, you're going to miss the test. You're going to, it's going to be a probability that you're not going to pass the test successfully. But if you know the terms and then you start to understand the question because you understand the terms, then you have a higher probability of passing the exam, getting the question right. Okay. Here's some facial treatment benefits. Deep cleansing, exfoliating, increasing circulation and detoxifying the skin. That's from alcohol, that's from oil, sweat, dirt, drugs, anything that has impacted the skin. Okay. And then relaxes the senses, nerves, and muscles. slows down symptoms of premature aging, addresses conditions such as dryness, oiliness, and redness, softens the appearance of wrinkles and aging lines, helps lessen the appearance of blemishes and minor acne, and then provides access to an esthetician expertise for at-home skincare maintenance. A part of our job is to educate our client what to do when they are not with us, okay? How to help us help them. That's a major part of our job. So that means you must understand the knowledge of what you do, not just the talent and the technique. You know, a lot of people like watching the videos, they're learning on social media, but you must understand what you're doing. And I tell anyone that you must know contraindications. If you know the word contraindications, that means you must know when, why this person cannot perform or why we cannot perform the service on them. Okay, so having some knowledge background of what's going on with the client, then knowledge background of products, then knowledge background of technique. All right. All of that comes into play on whether we can serve the client or not. So great understanding. This is not for someone who just wants to just come in, look, I can do that, I can copy what she's doing. No, you have to have a knowledge understanding. Okay, you got to be able to decipher what's what, because you're not going to be able to put anything on people's skin. Okay. Okay. One of our skills is making sure that we're licensed, all right, and making sure we're qualified. Okay, we're qualified professional. Okay, that we're successful in what we do, which means everything that we learn, we should be practicing it. And the more that we practice, the better we become. Okay, we want to make the clients comfortable. So, all the way from introductions to rapport, building a relationship with them, to actually understanding product and service. Okay, all of that plays a very important factor in making your esthetician successful. Okay, you have to have impeccable customer service and proper communication skills, which means impeccable customer service. People do not owe you respect. You don't owe anybody else respect. Okay, but you're asking to perform a service for someone who doesn't necessarily need it to breathe. Okay, they don't need the service to live. This is a luxury to them, this is a bonus to them. I will not have a nasty attitude when I'm asking them to give me money out of their household to help provide for my household, okay, and think they're supposed to do it. So it's an impeccable customer service. If you don't know what customer service is, it's time to jump into it, learn. You're always honing your craft of customer service. Don't wait on anyone to speak to you, you speak to them. Here's a golden rule: treat others the way you would like to be treated. Okay? Smile when you talk. When you answer the phone, smile. It translates into a quiet language on the phone. I know if you're happy or not answering the questions that I'm asking you. Okay. That's why we have to be knowledgeable, proper communication skills. When we're a lot of times when we're booking clients, we're texting. No, let's not text. We're calling. Okay. There should be multiple ways that you're touching and communicating with the clients. Multiple ways that you're touching and communicating with the clients. So learning proper communication skills, listening, intaking, and outtaking. Also, at the same time, how do we communicate on the phone? How do I actually book an appointment? How do I have a client consultation? How do I do a skin analysis? All of that is going to be trade that you continue to learn and you continue to hone even after you are finished with school, even after your license. These are things that you're going to continue to build a career on, and we call them soft skills. Some people call them manners, but we call them soft skills. A lot of people did not have what we call grandmama and them, my dear and them, that taught us soft skills, that taught us manners. Some people have to learn them at a later age, okay? So I never just disregard, oh, you didn't learn, you didn't have no home training. That literally is the fact. these days. Some people just do not have home training. So when they're going into a service-based business like a beauty business, you got to have some type of, bring it together, some type of respect, some type of customer service skills, because you're asking someone to be your client. You're asking them to pull revenue out of a budget, a household budget, for a service that they don't need to live. All right. Again, it is a luxury. So we have to learn how to build rapport, communicate, talk to people, resolve, have great resolutions. We got to learn how to resolve conflict and things of that nature. So moving and becoming a professional, you are going to work more and more with people. And as you begin to work more and more with people, you're going to learn some here and there. But the every day that you go in and you're working with clients, you're interacting and engaging with people, it's going to be a new experience, okay? And that experience should translate in your work, in your smile, your attitude, just your energy in the room. It should definitely translate. As we look at exceptional skills, we're always going to remain teachable. Remember, this is highlighted. We're going to remain teachable, continue learning. Even after we're done, that does not mean that we're done learning, okay? Even after we're done, we're not absolutely done.
Girl, I'm your mama. I'm not no spam. Yes, it's only one.
All right. All right. So we're going to build on our massage techniques, build on learning about our facial equipment, build on our contraindications, learning, having a full knowledge of everything it takes to be an exceptional esthetician and to give exceptional service. When we talk about mastering retail sales, retailing and selling to your client is a part of the industry. All right. They got to have the items that you're using to go home with them, because as they're going to be more home than they are with you, you want them to take care of their skin. So you're not always regrouping and resetting every time they come in. If you do not make sure they have what they need, they're going to go get it from someone else. Retail is a huge component in commission salons and suite ownership, things of that nature. Retailing, okay? You should always have some product, some basic 1, 2, 3 steps of products, some small kits that your clients can take away with them, so you know exactly what they're using until they get back with you. If you fail to sell retail or to make sure retail is a part of the package, they will go anywhere and get their product. Okay, they'll go to Walgreens, they'll go anywhere and get mixed match product. And if they have a certain skin type, you've already educated them on what they need. Just continue to drive the sale. And a lot of times, many individuals have to be educated on how to sell and how to retail. That is something that is continuously built. The more experience you have, the more you continually build it. Ongoing education, of course, taking classes, trainings. I do focus on continuing education and trade shows. A lot of time trade shows are where you're going to get maybe 100 and so classes for $100. You get to pick and choose what classes you want to go to. And this gives you the freedom to choose classes around what you want to enhance, what part of your training you want to go at today, what part of your training for the next 3 months you're going to learn more about. You're going to build expertise in this particular area. And so I love ongoing education. Okay. Every 3 months, every quarter, we should have some type of class, webinar, training. And of course, what I say, remain teachable. Getting your license is not the end. All right. Getting your license is only the beginning. We look at key elements of client interaction, okay? It says to be successful and to maintain client loyalty, you must know the key factors to a successful client interaction. You want to be genuine. We do focus on the client. It is not all about us. So we're not doing a lot of talking. We are more listening than we are talking. We want to give the client our full attention. That means we got to get off our socials, put our phones down. Okay. Give the client the full attention. Remember, it needs to be a superb client interaction. Ask the client what their skin concerns are. Listen carefully before you respond. And then you want to make the client comfortable. Before they come in, you're going to make sure that there's the atmosphere is set, whether it's the music, the dim lighting. How do you feel when you walk in? Put yourself in their shoes, channel all of their senses. If they're coming in for a spa treatment, they do not want to come in a cold room. So you're going to have to get there a little early just to set the temp, okay? And all of that is a part of that person, that one customer turning into a client. A customer is a person that comes one time. A client is someone who has a commitment that comes all, they have agreed to repeat services with you, repeat services, repeat services. That person has shown a form of loyalty, and now that person becomes a client. We want clients, period. We don't just want customers. We don't want one-time customers. We want clients. And so we do a part of the senses, channeling their senses, what they smell, what they see, their first reactions, how the aesthetic of the room looks or the spa looks. All of that plays into whether they'll return again. Okay. Looking at your facial setup and procedures, there are about 2 procedures that I am going to highlight, and 2 videos I'm going to highlight as well. When it comes to skin analysis, when it comes to what products to set up and things of that nature. It says have facial clients come in 15 minutes prior to their appointment so they can fill out their consultation forms. If it's not 15 minutes, if you're using chemical peels and things of that nature, the client will come in 24 to 48 hours before the service. Why? You need to do a test, okay? A predisposition test to make sure that the client is not allergic, there's no harsh reactions, negative reactions to the chemical that you're going to be using. All right. Other than that, you need to make sure the client comes in 15 minutes earlier. You want to do a small consultation. You want them to take their clothes off, put their robe on, and get into the smart spa element. Then at the time of their service, you want to begin. Okay. You want to touch your clients at least 4 times when it comes to communicating and booking appointments. So calling, texting, emailing, social media blasts, whatever you have to do, you need to follow up. It's the power of the follow up. Okay. And you also ask the receptionist or support employees to help you as far as when it comes down to securing them as far as deposits, or also securing them for additional appointments, rescheduling. The actual technician and the front desk will work together to make sure that those books are full. Okay. When we talk about meeting and greeting clients, definitely come up with a 15 to 30-second introduction. Hi, my name is Destiny. I am from Tennessee. I'm going to be an esthetician for today. How can I service you? Or how can I serve you? Those are my two words. How can I service you today? Or how can I serve you? I am here to take care of the client. Okay. Period. The client pays my bills. I am here to serve the client. And I'm going to take what the client wants and I'm going to educate them on what they need. And we're going to together come together and find out what we can do today and what's the plan for 30 days from now. Okay. What the client wants versus what the clients need. But I always give honor to my clients because they don't have to be my clients. Okay. So we got to learn some personal customer service, learn some soft skills. And so that's just what I do. And I like to call clients guests, because when you have a guest come over to your house, you make them feel welcome. And so definitely instead of clientele. A lot of times I find myself saying, welcome guests, or welcome guests to the school, welcome guests to the salon. All right. So just building a rapport and learning, building a rapport with the client and just learning your 15 to 30-second spiel. If you have to do some Toastmasters, I understand individuals may be shy sometimes, but we're in a personal service industry. So we rely on communication to make money. Okay. So we're going to have to just practice and get ourselves out there. And maybe have somebody that we can practice introductions to, but definitely we got to find our niche on how we're going to meet and greet our clients. Okay, your own little spiel. Don't try to be like anybody else. Be genuine, but take a lot of the things that you learned and remember it's customer service first. It's the experience first. Before you ever perform the service, it's the experience that makes them rebook and instantly commit to saying, this is my esthetician. This is my spa that I'm going to be going to. Make sure professionalism. All right. And remember, your client is paying for the service. All right. So, whatever professionalism, whatever you have to learn to move to let them know that you appreciate them, that's what we got to do. I want you to really look up white glove service. A lot of times when you look up white glove service is the elite, the top of the top when it comes to service providers. White glove service is what butlers provide. Okay, that's what doormen and butlers provide. And so we start there and come down. How do we want our clients, our guests to feel? All right, how do we want our guests to feel? Okay, preparing the client for the facial treatment, making sure you have instructions, they're clear for what we need to do, explaining the next steps, having a warm greeting, as we said before, and then explaining what's about to go down. Okay. So now we move into a bookmark area and you'll see some more highlighted areas on page 305. Okay. As you move into 305 says explain the key steps of a basic facial treatment. So figure 8-9 is going to be a part of a lot that we'll reference. Okay. And they're just basic traditional steps. But what happens in general, most basic facials take approximately an hour. All right. You're going to continue to train yourself. So initially, your facials, when training, may take longer than an hour. And then the more that we work, the lesser time that it takes. So we're talking about your traditional signature facial, which is, I'm going to say 50 minutes to 60 minutes. So 1 hour. All right. As individuals start adding more things to the facial, it's going to take more time. All right, it's going to be more time. And that's something we're going to talk about too. You learning the basics, and then you have to learn the basic before we move to microdermabrasions. You got to learn the basic before we move over to hydrofacials. You got to learn the basics before we move into many different areas. And so you're being introduced to the basics. So the figure 8-9 it's just an initial step-by-step of your first facial. Okay. All right. Steps 1 through 15. The consultation, the draping, the skin analysis, the option of the warm towels. You will see these steps repeatedly in videos and other procedures. And based on what's going on with the client, we will be adding different steps and taking away different steps. Okay. This is just a general, okay, a general basic facial procedure. And then we're going to move into timing. Table A1 is the timing and facial procedure. I am going to highlight the table in yellow. So, this is a reference. So sometimes we get to a part of the facial, we spend more time in this area than we do other areas. This helps you in your timing so you're not all over the place and you don't extend your time. Many times we hear time is money, time is currency. Absolutely. If I'm doing a traditional facial and I know it's an hour and I look up it's 2 hours, and if the facial was just say the facial was $125 for 1 hour. If I spend 2 hours on this client, I should have collected $250. But because that extra hour was spent on the client that I just threw away, I'm missing $125. Time is money. So we have to make sure that our timing, that we learn to speed up and we learn to work in real salon atmospheres, because it's going to be a teacher when it comes to time. Okay, so it tells you on your setup, on your consultation, on your draping should be no more than 2 minutes. We should not be 10 minutes on draping. Our towel options, 2 minutes. Our cleansing, 3 to 5 minutes. Our skin analysis should be 5 minutes. Our exfoliation, 8 to 10 minutes, depending on what type of exfoliation. Okay. And exfoliation includes removing blackheads, extractions, whiteheads. A lot of people say bust and bums. We don't say that as estheticians. Extraction, removal. And so a lot of people, once they start getting one pimple, they move to another one, and then they stay in those areas for 20, 30 minutes. We can't do that. And in reality, no, 5 minutes for acne prone skin, 8 to 10 minutes for express and other skin types. Here's the thing. If you are picking at the skin or poking at the skin, extractions and doing this exfoliation process, you can cause the skin to be very irritated. All right. So you have sting, then you're picking at the skin, then you don't know what the skin type is. You can cause an adverse reaction. What was helping is now causing us to have a problem, and we have to stop the service. So we want to stick to that based on what they got going on, what type of facial they get, is how long we're going to do the exfoliation. But we do not want to exceed. What you see here is always the gold. Okay, it's the gold. In the beginning, you may go past these goals, but we always got to make sure every time we practice, we stay within these time ranges. The more you practice, the better you get. The more you practice, the better you get. Okay. We're going to continue to read this chapter in the ebook. We are going to pick it up some more. I'm going to send some more study session videos as well. This particular study session was recorded.
Why don't you give me
Okay, this